you be driving me crazy. Might be too early, I'm calling you baby. And truly told, don't want nobody else but you. Say what you want about me. Say what you want about me. I'm not gonna get it too and what, man. Think it up, round.
Welcome back. It's the...
Perfect.
Welcome back. It's the dog. Now, if this is your first time on my YouTube page, make sure you hit the subscribe button, share, and comment. Now, I'm about to go over this story about how I met Christopher Terrell Anderson. Now, if you see my picture, you just see a picture of me. Now, this picture isn't just a picture of me. I met Bravo when he was about 11 or 12 years old, something like that. I believe it was somewhere around the early 2000s, maybe like 2001. From 2001 to 2014, the bus strikes. There was a couple bus strikes back in early 2000s. There's been bus strikes all throughout Minneapolis, but that's the one I believe was the one that, you know, it was affecting us at that time. Now, I was getting my hair done by Chris's older sister. She knew how to braid hair, so I used to go over there and she'll braid my hair. I met Chris's entire family, kind of got welcomed into the family by his mom, Janice, who is, you know, now deceased. So just like Chris in the movie Get Out, Christopher Terrell Anderson also suffers from, you know, a lot of issues from losing his mom at a fairly early age, you know, and him at the time of involving himself in the relationship with Hannah Rose Miller, a.k.a. Rose Armitage. You know, just like in the movie, he didn't have a lot of family members or friends to fall back on if anything went left. You know, I remember talking to Chris about his situation, about going out to Rhinelander, Wisconsin. I was like, man, that sounds like some Get Out shit. I remember literally saying that to him. And he went out there, and the last time I talked to him, as far as being a free individual, free man, or whatever y'all want to call him, yeah, he was out there. I told him, watch yourself, and next thing you know, he's in prison for serving a life sentence for the murder, alleged murder of his, you know, child's mom. And when I say alleged, you know, I look into and I cross-reference, you know, other stories and things of that nature that are prevalent to this particular case. Now, Rose Armitage in the movie Get Out, a lot of people assume that she is dead, and they say it like in a lot of interviews and stuff like that. But I didn't get the feeling that Rose Armitage was so-called dead. Like, you know, they could have said that that bitch survived. You know, she got shot just like Hannah. Hannah got shot, right? And Hannah was found on the side of the road in a ditch, right? Rose Armitage was found on the side of the road, shot. So, you know, it's a lot of parallels. In the alternate ending in Get Out, Chris ended up going to prison for the murder of, you know, the entire family. You know, they allege that Christopher Terrell Anderson tried to kill Rose's entire family. You know, y'all see what I'm saying? Like y'all don't see if y'all don't see the parallels, I just don't know what to tell y'all. Now, I get a lot of comments all the time, you know, about, you know, what I'm covering, what I'm looking at, or what I'm reacting to. And, you know, I figured why not react more in depth into, you know, some, I guess, a case I actually know about, you know, something that's directly impacting me and impacting my friends and family. Christopher Terrell Anderson is not a killer. You know, it just is that. He's not a killer. He's not a murderer. And the last person he'll murder would be, you know, Rose, his child's mother. You know, he loved that child, Nova. And this ain't the first time he's lost a child to, you know, a bitter mother. But, you know, this one affected him differently. And, you know, I'm not saying that, you know, he's just completely not, you know, involved in all this, right? I'm not saying that. Because like I said, you know, I've known Bravo for 20 years, give or take. You know, I've known him for quite a long time. And it's one of my best friends. And, you know, I've watched, you know, a lot of Hollywood stuff, right? What goes down in Hollywood as far as, you know, all the different things and all the different hurdles and paths that you got to go through allegedly to get fame, fortune, and, you know, whatever else you feel that you need in this life to survive. So, you know, we're all stuck in this situation where we're being, you know, targeted by these rich, wealthy elites, you know, the 1%, the Hollywood fucking Satanists. You know, this is, you know, I mean, you know, it's kind of hard for me to try to tell y'all, like, this is something that we're, you know, experiencing, you know, and, you know, I know that they put it in the movies and stuff like that. And, you know, a lot of y'all don't believe it, you know, because, you know, it's been turned into a film or it's been so-called put into this section of fiction. So now it's, you know, probably 100 times harder to actually show it to y'all and be like, hey, this shit that's in the movie is actually happening. It's really real. There are, you know, these families out there, you know, who gather and, you know, sell bodies and sell your organs and, you know, chop you up into pieces, you know, and, you know, there are these groups who, you know, indulge themselves in mass hypnosis, MK Ultra, you know, it happens on a daily. It happens to everyone. You know, we know that these individuals are conducting experiments on us. You know, what do y'all think this damn, you know, so-called pandemic is? You know, and all this stuff hit around the same time. So you ain't really get no opposition, or I would say even, I ain't received not one family member of Chris speak out. Not one. And I don't know what they either said or did not say, like on their social medias, because I'm not you know, connected to them, so I'm not gonna say they didn't say anything. But you know, obviously they didn't put two to two together like I'm putting two to two together. So, you know, if anybody gonna say it, I guess I would say it, you know, as Chris's friend. Christopher's a great dude, you know, very talented, you know, he's very, very smart dude, very kind. Unlike that other dude, Seth, man, I ain't gonna say unlike, I don't know Seth at all. You know, and I don't think no one knew Seth at all. So that was kind of a thing where they just find this guy, and this guy is this star witness in Chris's case. And it's just like, where the fuck did this dude even come from? I got a lot to actually go into about that dude and his statements, and, you know, him claiming that, you know, he was going to hire him and pay him for, you know, essentially assassination of his baby mother, you know, and I'm just like, it baffles me that Judge Bloom, Michael Bloom, whatever, he goes off and tells the news and all these other people, right? And not only that, but, you know, also Hannah's family and Chris's family, that Seth isn't a threat to society and all this other stuff, when Michael Bloom has seen him in multiple cases, you know, as a threat to society, you know, and the case kept on getting dropped and dismissed, and now they're giving him plea deals and stuff like that. They, you know, question his competency, knowing damn well he wasn't competent. You know, this dude's on medications, on heavy medication, you know, and they pretty much railroaded that dude and forced him into a position where he had to cooperate or whatever. You know, and these pale faces, they ain't built like us. You know, they'll rat on they'll lie on their mom, brothers, sisters, cousins. They don't give a damn. They'll lie on everybody. They'll tell everything. They'll tell all kind of lies to get out, to weasel themselves out of responsibility and accountability. And Seth ain't no damn different. The awkward thing about Seth, though, is Seth and Chris's child, Nova, have the exact same numbers in gematria. Seth Wakefield has the exact same numbers as Nova in gematria, and that's very telling. And it's it just blew my mind that, you know, this is what's, you know, going on. I don't know where that dude came from. I mean, when I seen his mugshot, you see a sweater on him, and it says, what does it say? It says Golden State. Now, if y'all know, Golden State is from San Francisco, California. I didn't see him in nothing from Wisconsin. I don't think he's a Wisconsin fan. I don't even think he's from Wisconsin. I think he's from California. And that's also indicative of what I said about Chris being involved with Hollywood and him going to Hollywood and seeking a Hollywood deal. You know, and I wanted to just make that, you know, be known too. Last time I seen Chris, he was in a Hollywood Mansions and shit partying it up. You know, him and his cousin from Chicago. I remember they even wanted me to come down there and do some work and stuff like that, work with him. And I considered it. I really did. I considered it, but you know, at the time, you know, he wasn't balling like that as far as I knew. Like, he had some bread, but you know, I couldn't ask him to take care of my needs and my situation and stuff and put me on. I don't know. I just can't. It's hard for me to ask for others to, you know, quarterback something I got going on, you know, and it's you know, it's a thing. You know, I had to put together my own play. I had to put together my own, you know, my own demo and perform it. So that's what I'm doing right now for all y'all to see and for all y'all to hear and for all y'all to bear witness to. As far as my, I would say, I wouldn't even call this a theory. I would call this an exposure, just exposing what's in the dark about not only Chris and the Millers, but just the overall experience that we have shared with these secret societies, whether you call them the Freemasons or, you know, Satanists or, you know, the Order of the Collagular or, you know, whatever type of fucking order or secret group or cult that you want to call it. But it is what it is. And like, you know, Satanists feel like this, right? If the Satanists show you exactly what's going on, right, and you do nothing about it, right, then you are agreeing or complying with what's happening to you. You know, it's similar to that in law too. If you don't say anything, right, they'll just apply it to you as if you said it. Like, I remember going through that a lot in court. You know, if you remain quiet, they just do whatever, you know, and that's why they're always trying to shut you up. It's a big thing. Oh, shut up. Don't speak. If you speak, we gonna, you know, drag you out of here. You know, and I'm like, damn, what's the fucking purpose of being here if I can't speak, right? I can't even speak in my own damn case. I had that happen to me recently. You know, I'm trying to get a word in, and this judge dude just he's doing all kind of illegal shit, you know, practicing law from the bench, making all kind of threats and stuff like that. And it really, you know, it really shook me. It really put me in a space where I was just, you know, I just disconnected from the whole situation. I was like, what the fuck am I even here for? I ain't went back to court ever since. You know, if I'm summoned to court, so what? You know, they're gonna have to come and get me, because you know, I don't accept your fucking, you know, your fucking. I don't accept the state's alleged whatever the fuck they got going on, right? Because they'll allege everything, right? They'll allege this shit, which is crazy because, right? You know, every case that I've ever seen, you know, especially for my friends and family, it's always been the state versus us, right? We ain't never had no injure party across from me. I know the so-called people I so-called allegedly did something to, you know, they never showed up for court. They never sat in court and pointed at me and said, my name is whoop-de-whoop, and I did this and I did that to them. But I've had the state of Minnesota's prosecution mofo, somebody doesn't know me, And some police officers who don't know me show up to court and, you know, point the finger at me and shit like that and try to say that I'm whoever they think I am. And I'm not. Clearly I'm not. And I'm like, this is conspiracy. It's conspiring. You are criminals conspiring to commit a crime. You violating my due process. You know, I don't get a say-so. I'm in here under threat and duress and coercion, and y'all just having y'all fucking way with me. You know, as y'all have y'all way with the majority of the population. But, you know, I'm a little bit different. And I know that y'all probably could see that or tell by that, you know, throughout all my videos if you actually look at them or listen to them. I know some of y'all get it, some of y'all don't. But it's okay, you know. But I wanted to speak on this because Chris is my friend. Chris is my little bro. I love Chris, and I want to see Chris free. But Chris has to want to be free. Chris has to put forth the effort to be free. I cannot free Chris. Only Chris can free Chris. Only Christopher Terrell Anderson could free himself. He put himself there by cooperating, by conspiring with the fucking devil. You know, rather he went to Hollywood and offered that bitch up to the damn devil for whatever little, you know, ride of fame he had or whatever the hell, D-list, no-list ass celebrity bullshit. You know, don't nobody give a fuck. No one gives a fuck about how many, you know, #1 songs he wrote, you know, because like I said, you know, I know what Chris was doing. Chris is a damn ghostwriter. You know, Chris is a very talented writer, very talented singer, performer, artist, you know. Dude has skills. Chris could fucking, yeah, Chris wasn't like this bum. He definitely didn't sexually assault this chick. That's crazy that, and that's another thing. It's like y'all tell these fucking crazy ass stories about like dudes and like the husbands, right? They even said Donald Trump raped his wife. It's like, how the fuck you rape your wife, yo? Now, like, how is the accusation of you raping your wife? It's your fucking wife. I don't think you could. I don't believe you can rape your fucking wife, man. I just don't. You know, y'all could try to frame it whatever type of way you want to, but once you say I do, bitch, once you open up your legs to this dude, you know, saying all that other type of shit, he living with you, and you got the fucking audacity to try to claim to be a sexual assault victim is beyond, you know, predatory. Well, so it's a predatory move. It's entrapment. You know, obviously it's fucking entrapment. You know, man, it's crazy. It's crazy. Fucking bitches is crazy. Yeah, I'm just saying there's a lot of fuckery that these people allege that Chris did and all that, but you know, it's all hearsay. It's all fucking hearsay. And I don't believe it for 1 second. I don't. Chris didn't sexually assault this bitch. She threw herself at fucking Chris, you know, whenever she got a fucking chance to. Okay? They had a child together, and they had whatever issues they were going through, whether in front of people or behind, you know, your backs or whatever the hell. That's their business. And it is what it is. Now, as far as him murdering this chick, I don't see no proof. I don't see no evidence of that. I don't see, you know, maybe that would have came out in trial. Who knows? What I do know is that Chris loved that child. Chris, you know, may or may not felt that, you know, her trying to leave him or break up with him, man, that's very hurtful. Because like I said, Chris' mom had passed, and he didn't really have a family to fall back on like Hannah. You know, it was kind of all or nothing with this relationship with him. You know, he relied on her, and yeah, she kind of just decided to say, fuck you, nigga, and, you know, try to, you know, cut him out of everything. Even try to take the little punk-ass car, you know, little funky-ass car. And they have multiple cars, y'all. And I'm like, you tripping about this little funky-ass car. But Yeah, man, that's some wild ass shit that they was tripping on him like that, you know, and yeah, and going as far as to try to gather evidence on him and recording him and doing all this other type of stuff, you know, trying to put a case on him. Because, you know, where would they get all these damn so-called, you know, text messages and shit from and all this other type of stuff? Like, where did they get all that from? All this alleged stuff that he allegedly did. Where did they get that shit from? She's fucking dead. It's hearsay. They can't confirm that's even the conversation that they had, because she's fucking dead. So that's another thing, you know. That's just some other stuff that just, you know, just went off in my head. Like, you know, in the movie, Chris just accepted, you know, being in prison and stuff like that. He didn't want Rod's help and rejected Rod's help as far as trying to get him out. And me and Rod's name equal out to the same in the same cipher in gematria. So I feel like this is just another repeat. You know, if I end up go out there to where Chris is locked up at and try to speak with him and do the exact same thing, more than likely I would end up with the same results. So I decided not to do that and just, you know, come on here and give y'all, you know, my take on Christopher Terrell Anderson. And not only him, but, you know, myself too. This ain't the first time that I've seen a fake stage murder. And that's also what I wanted to talk about. I think the first time we knew for a fact that it was a stage murder, that was some fake and political pawn type of issue that was surrounding all of us, was this whole George Floyd murder. What else? Taisha Edwards. Taisha Edwards, which is funny, Taisha Edwards, she was born the exact same date as Chris. So her and Chris have the same birthdays. I met Chris, and like I said, I got my hair done, and I was getting my hair done by Chris's sister. Now I remember the same time where, you know, the whole buses were on strike, right? So we had to walk. You know, we had to walk to Chris's house, and we had to walk all through the hood to get back to my house. Now I lived on 31st. That's where I lived, and to this day, you know, you might be able to catch me out there. But I lived on 31st in Clinton. Now I'm leaving from 38th in Chicago at the time, leaving from his house, getting my hair done. I see a couple homies up there, everybody hanging out, you know. Now, like I said, the buses were shut down. Now we're right at the corner in front of the bus stop, mind you. I have my back towards the street. I don't keep my back to the street no more. While we were standing there, the Cub Foods that got shot up, you know. Well, I wouldn't say the Cub Foods got shot up. We got shot at by some dudes in a car. I can't remember what the car was. I don't remember what these dudes looked like or nothing. Because like I said, I had my back turned towards the street, and I had my face turned towards, you know, everybody else just conversating. Now, they done shot a good enough number of times. The whole bus station that y'all see, it's all blown out and stuff like that at the time. Out of everybody, no one else got hit but me. I got grazed in my leg. So my leg is all bloody and stuff like that. And, you know, I kind of knew right away that, all right, my leg ain't blown off. I'm just bleeding down here. I don't know if it was the glass. I thought it was glass. But apparently, you know, it was bullet grazed. So a bullet grazed my ankle. And damn near took my ankle off, you know, obviously. But I got grazed, which is funny because my older cousin got grazed across the face. They shot at him and got grazed across the face while he was walking his girlfriend home. And it's happened in the same neighborhood. So it was another cautionary tale, you know, just things that just brought me back to, you know, the danger that I was in, you know, and, you know, and I was thinking, you know, just being thankful to God that, you know, I didn't get popped, because I had another friend who got shot in the leg and damn near lost his leg, damn near lost his foot, which was, you know, a good friend of mine. I ain't gonna give y'all his government name, but he an artist too, and he go by the name of it's Dot Ducati. Yep. Dot Ducati got shot in the leg, and yeah, they damn near took his leg off. Me, I got grazed on my leg, so also that run right back to me with Dot getting shot in the leg. I got a lot of homies that got put in wheelchairs. You know, I got 2 homies from the hood that got put in wheelchairs. You know, from bullets. Mainly, I think, you know, but I think both of them got hit and got put in wheelchairs. And you know, I was thinking about that a lot, man. I was like, man, like fuck, I could have got put in a wheelchair at a very young age, you know, getting hit like that. But you know, I was fortunate. I didn't get put down. I, you know, skipped and limped kind of in the damn, you know, in the Cub Foods joint. Because it was funny, because we were walking with some girls too, so it brought me right back to my cousin's situation. But was talking and stuff like that. And Cub Food dudes, you know, solid dudes, man. We ran up in there. Cub Food dudes pulled out the heat, man. Went outside, and man, they handling business way more than once. So I really salute that store. You know, the owners and stuff been nothing but kind, and you know, just very you know, with the shit. You know, and now I don't remember them ever treating us any type of way, you know, besides, you know, very you know, accepting and protecting. And I shout out to that store. You know, it kept us safe that day. Without that store, without that cover, without that backup, you know, from Cub Foods and the store workers and stuff like that, we would have been in big trouble if we didn't have that place to retreat to. So yeah, whenever I think about 38th of Chicago, you know, I always remember that time. But that happened to also be the same spot where George Floyd took his last breath, allegedly. And I'll never forget when George Floyd was on the ground, you know, crying out for his mom. And that's also a nod to what happened to Myron, you know, when he was in, you know, the videos crying out for his mom, you know, and his mom being, you know, killed. I would even go far as say, you know, ritualistically executed or murdered while visiting Myron. And, you know, obviously that put him in a situation where he was just, you know, was it taken back, you know, torn, you know, and going through a lot. I couldn't imagine, you know, being so young and your mom visiting you in lockup, right? And she leaving, and she, you know, is killed on the road visiting you. You know, I mean, imagine going through that, knowing that you're innocent, knowing that, you know, you had a airtight alibi. You know, he was at that store. You know, they have footage of him at the store the same day that Taisha Edwards got murdered. And, you know, he had an airtight alibi. He didn't have anything to do with that murder besides, you know, all of us being from the same area and, you know, all of us claiming to be Bloods. You know, I'm not sure what clique, you know, Myron claimed or whatever, you know, not that he's, you know, involved in any of that at this time. I don't know. The thing that I do know, excuse me, the thing that I do know is that the, you know, state of Minnesota, Minneapolis police and all these other, you know, PSYOP operators, you know, I know that they used the George Floyd character to take attention away from what was going on with Myron being released after damn near 20 years of being locked up after him being kidnapped. You know, we didn't just lose Taisha Edwards that day. You know, we lost a lot of people. Ike is still in jail. He's still in prison over that. And Ike wasn't necessarily doing anything bad, man. If Ike was out there shooting at some crabs, that's what he was supposed to be doing. And unfortunately, you know, there's casualties, man. Sometimes casualties happen. And it's unfortunate that happened, but it just had nothing to do with Myron. It had nothing to do with him. You know, and it was crazy to hear that, you know, Taisha Edwards' family, I'm not saying all of his family, but especially that brother, man. That brother, he has pictures with the police, posing with them and shit like that. And you don't know how much involvement the police had with your sister's death, but you know that they kidnapped a 17-year-old boy and locked him up for life, you know, and knowing that this dude was innocent, he had nothing to do with your sister's murder. And he was like really like upset that Myrell got out. You know, he didn't want Myrell to be out. He went on a lot of different syndicates, you know, talking as if, you know, it's like, oh, because Myrell was innocent, no one cared about Taisha Edwards. And that's untrue. It's like we cared about Taisha Edwards. All of us cared about Taisha Edwards, even, you know, her getting shot, you know, while we're shooting at the damn crabs who, you know, would be doing a lot worse to all y'all if we weren't there. You know, if we weren't in this community, I don't think y'all quite fathom the level of fuckery that would be going on in South Minneapolis if we weren't allowed and if we weren't permitted in, you know, staying in our communities. You know, we bring a lot of you know, peace and, you know, community to that area. The whole area, we're loved by our community. See, that's the difference between us and the RTBs in LA. We're loved and respected by our neighborhood. I think BPS is loved and respected by the neighborhood in LA, but not so much the 20s. And I feel bad about that. You know, I feel like the RTBs in LA just don't represent us the correct way. You know, I think a lot of separation between us and them is apparent, you know, and a lot of us don't give a fuck about what the hell is going on in California. But I do. You know, I'm one of those individuals who I do care about what's going on in West Adams. I care about what's going on in South Central, whether we're talking about South Central LA or South Central Minneapolis. I know a lot of y'all don't call it South Central, but it's a central neighborhood and we're on the South Side, so that makes it South Central. And I grew up in South Central. And I love that community. I love my neighborhood. You know, it's all I known. And I always wanted the best for my neighborhood. My father instilled, you know, pride and community and, you know, and I took that and I just utilized that and went further with it and got involved politically and, you know, with my neighborhood, you know. Shit, we came together and we started 31st Street and we've been on and activated, and it is what it is. I don't think a lot of people approve of how I, you know, view things, but it doesn't matter. You know, shit, I don't approve the way that you fuckers view things or, you know, do things. And if it wasn't for individuals like myself, Myrell would still be fucking locked up. You know, I had a lot of people reach out to me about Myrell's case. And I was one of the ones speaking out about it, you know, on Facebook and on Instagram and wherever else I could get on, you know, Twitter and shit like that. I was one of the first to get blocked from a lot of platforms for speaking out. You know, I lost my Facebook page. I lost my main connection to all my friends and family speaking about the issues that were going on in my neighborhood. All because Google wanted to silence us. They wanted to separate us. They wanted to neutralize us. They wanted to stop our communication. And I was the first to go, pretty much. I was the first. I was one of the first to get blocked on all these platforms. You know, me, Farrakhan, and Who the hell else? Me, Farrakhan, and Andrew Tate probably. Like we're all these you know, getting canceled and stuff like that. Everybody trying to censor us and stop us from saying whatever the hell we're saying. And I got stopped and blocked for questioning a lot of these so-called cases in Minnesota, especially the George Floyd situation. I never felt like the George Floyd situation was real. I felt like that was contrived, like I said, to take away from the Myron Burrell case, because that dude spent damn near 20 years in jail, right? And what happened to all the state conspirators who conspired against him knowing they didn't do nothing? They had paid informants. They paid informants to lie on him, to say all kind of shit that he did, but he didn't do. And that's the same situation that Chris is in. You know, they put $25,000 on Chris' head. He was on the run for 2 months, allegedly, right? He's on the run for 2 months. They put $25,000 on his head, try to get $100,000 to put on his head, a fund for Hannah Miller, right? $100,000 fund for Hannah Miller. Ain't that some shit? I'm just saying, yeah, there was a lot of political and statewide terrorism, you know, domestic terrorism, in order to terrorize us out of our neighborhoods, you know, paint us as criminals and terrorists and all this other type of shit. You know, they never said that about the Crabs. They never did. Like the Crabs are one of the most evilest organizations known throughout America. You know, the Crips, the gangster Crips, the neighborhood Crips, just Crips in general, are very wicked. They're very evil. They murder people. You know, they murder families. They try to kill everybody. And they're not as indifferent as we are about drugs or pimping and prostituting. Like, they'll do all that shit. They don't care about none of that. And you know, they actually, you know, that's how they do things. They don't. That's just the way of cripping. You know, cripping. The original intent for cripping is just, you know, are you ready to rob, pillage, and rape, and kill? Yeah, that's cripping all day. All this community revolution and progress shit, that came from the East Coast, nigga. That came from the East Coast Crip niggas, because they were outnumbered by the Bloods, and they needed a better identity than the gangster crowd identity, because there was all the gangsters were Bloods and gangster disciples in the East Coast. So they decided to adopt the neighborhood Crip identity. The majority of the so-called Crips in New York are neighborhood Crip niggas, or wannabe neighborhood Crip niggas. Bunch of wannabes. And, you know, bunch of blood rejects. That's mainly what these damn Crabs are. They're blood rejects. That's what they are. That's what they always been. Blood rejects. You know, so most of them are victims of the homies. Somebody done slapped them, chapowed their ass like Pop Smoke. If y'all don't remember, Pop Smoke got chapowed. Breaking out those crates. What's wrong with you? Chapow. Bow. Slap your ass. But yeah, Crips ain't a noble thing, y'all. Crips aren't about the community. They don't give a fuck. They don't give a flying fuck about the neighborhood. And that's what offends me so much about neighborhood Crips, because neighborhood Crips don't give a fuck about the neighborhood. They don't. They don't give a fuck about the neighborhood. You know, maybe the neighborhood Crips that I met in Minnesota, the 9-0s specifically, they cared about the neighborhood, but they actually lived in our neighborhood. And they treat our neighborhood very well. You don't see no neighborhood Crip shit on the wall or nothing. You know, and there's a lot of them fools. And I remember we just had, I was the front line on the relationship between the 9-0s, because I knew them all, you know, and we maintained peace for a long time. And I'm still maintaining peace with them for now. And we have a decent and good relationship. I miss Blue's funeral, but, you know, I've been to a lot of funerals, you know, so, you know, not being there, it sucked, because I had a lot of love for Blue. Blue actually, you know, he's partially the reason why I kept this name for so long, you know, and It is what it is, y'all. Y'all let me know how y'all feel about that in the comment section. I'm gonna play this clip from Get Out and show y'all some gematria connections between Rose Armitage and the case of Hannah Miller. Okay, and I want y'all to specifically remember the number 131, which is the ordinal number in gematria for Rose Armitage. And let's just see how many times 131 appears in this report about Hannah Miller and Christopher Terrell Anderson.
Wisconsin family is asking local residents for help finding the man police say is responsible for their daughter's death.
Authorities say the suspect could be here in the Twin Cities right now, and Fox 9's Mitty Hicks has more.
Been kind of a little bit of shock to her, to us, because we're like, well, I know you're kind of funny, but I didn't know you're that funny. Well, I know you're kind of funny, but I didn't know you're that funny.
That was Hannah Miller's parents' reaction.
Pan and 31. This comes from Arcadia93.org, tab 131. In this article, we are going to discuss the number 131 and its associations. 131 is the most notable the number of the pan in both Greek and Hebrew gematria value. For an occult view of Pan, see Hymn to Pan in Magic in Theory and Practice by Aleister Crowley. You will find information on him in any general work on Greek mythology, and I highly recommend Philip Bygard, The Cult of Pan in Ancient Greece. Pan is the phallic god of animal nature, known to the Romans as Faunus and the Vedas as Poseidon. He has been adopted by the Christians for their concept of the goat-headed devil. The concept is seen in Adam LaVey's Baphomet pentagram. The name Baphomet itself translates to 131 in Hebrew values.
At the time of this recording, many people are starting to feel the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic around the world, here in the United States as well. So I figure since everybody is basically quarantined, this would be a good time to make some additional videos. And please feel free to share these, like and subscribe. I really want to grow this channel and share some of these rare books with everybody. But if things stagnate for no effort of my own, then I will cease doing so. So the one I want to look at today is Pan Paradox. This is another of my top 5 all-time favorite works as of right now. It is quite hard to find. It is no longer in print, and some people sell it for $150 to $400, depending where you get it. I actually bought this off somebody for $50 because they did not research what they had. Pan Paradox, Pan Towards Chaos, embodies philosophy and mysticism around the misrepresented, contemptuous god and black magical chaos philosophy. Illustrations by Vexior. This is copy number 256 of 430. Gives you a brief introduction, and then of course the table of contents. Historical mythological narration on Pan, Pan Towards Chaos, Paradoxical Panic Essence, Papa Pestilence. And as you can see, it kind of goes down. There's some mentions about Loki, Lucifer, Panic Entities, Baphomet, Flaming Nexus. And the thing that's really rare about this book is they didn't do a paperback that I'm aware of. So it's only the hardcover, and there's only 430 of these in the world. So
Ever since we discovered the horrors of the sunken place in Get Out, we've been wondering whether it would link to Jordan Peele's follow-up movie Us, about a family confronted by their doppelgangers. Yippee-ki-yay, movie lovers, I'm Jan, and in this video I'm revealing the hidden connections between Us and Get Out, and explaining why the two movies likely exist in the same universe. Spoilers ahead for both movies, so take care if you haven't seen them yet. The conspiracy that Chris uncovers in Get Out is that his girlfriend Rose and her family are part of a secret society that's been transplanting rich white people's brains and consciousness into the bodies of younger black men and women who've been abducted. The experiments in Us have been carried out on larger numbers of people, but there are some major similarities and connections between the two conspiracies. In Peele's new movie, we discover that the tethered are the product of an experiment carried out underground. The conspirators who set this up planned to use the doppelgangers as a way to control their lookalikes above ground. Adelaide's counterpart, Red, explains that although the process created a copy of a person's body, it failed to create a separate soul. This meant that the doubles below the surface became tethered to the bodies above and ended up with little control over their lives. Because of the scheme's apparent failure to create an independent consciousness in their subjects, the people in charge decided to abandon the experiment and they left the tethered alone in the tunnels to fend for themselves. Fast forward to 2017 and Get Out, where Rose's family have almost but not quite perfected a medical procedure where they can transplant a person's mind into the body of another human being. To see why the mad scientists responsible for the tethered in Us could be the same ones who developed the brain surgery that we see Dean performing in Get Out, we need to examine a little-known secret about Get Out that Jordan Peele has so far only talked about in the special features for the Blu-ray. On the movie's commentary track, Peele revealed that the group who are abducting black people are actually descendants of the Knights Templar, a Christian military order founded in 1119, and which took part in the Crusades. There's a nod to this in the film with the Templar helmet that Jeremy wears at the beginning of the movie. Peele also explained in the movie's commentary that the cult carrying out the abductions and transplant surgeries is called the Red Alchemist Society. In fact, almost all the attendants at the auction party who've come to bid on Chris's body wear some form of red, whether it's a pocket handkerchief, red earrings, red in their ties, red glasses or red lipstick, a little sign they're part of the Red Alchemist Society. So it's intriguing that in Us, Adelaide's double is called Red, and the tethered are all dressed in red jumpsuits. And notice also how Adelaide's pale-coloured clothes get stained red with blood as the film progresses, a clue to the twist ending that Adelaide was originally one of the tethered before she escaped in 1986. There are also some huge parallels between the sunken place from Get Out and the underground tunnels in Us where the tethered are forced to live. In Get Out, the sunken place is a conceptual space, somewhere that Chris sinks into, falling below the surface while his captors remain above, peering down at him. In Us, the tethered exist below the surface in abandoned underground areas, which were deliberately chosen in order to keep the experiments a secret. In Get Out, Chris's body is also literally taken downstairs to the basement after he falls into the sunken place for the second time, and it's also below ground level where the actual brain surgery takes place. Whenever he's trapped in the sunken place, Chris becomes paralysed and loses control over much of his body. Likewise in Us, the tethered have limited control over their own bodies. Think of those images we see of them shuffling around the tunnels, forced to imitate their counterparts above the surface. In both films, these characters have lost much of their free will and autonomy over their bodies after being subjected to the secret society's experiments. However, in each film, the victims of these experiments also show some ability to break out of their captivity. In Us, young Adelaide's doppelganger below ground has some ability to act independently of her counterpart above ground, and when Adelaide visits the Hall of Mirrors and encounters her double, the doppelganger takes initiative and drags her down inside the tunnels, then switches places with her. Also, after the tethered are abandoned, Red speaks of a moment years later when a miracle happened. It seems like at that point the connection between the tethered and their counterparts above was broken or weakened to the point where the tethered could now act independently, and with the help of Red they organised a revolution to rise up from below and break free. In Get Out, the mad science that the Armitage family employs to transfer brains and replace the consciousness of the host bodies doesn't quite work as they'd like it to, as they have to allow a tiny part of the original mind to remain.
Actually, the piece of your brain connected to your nervous system needs to stay put, keeping those intricate connections intact. A sliver of you will still be in there somewhere. Limited consciousness. Your existence will be as a passenger, an audience. You'll live in the sunken place.
Twigs.
And we see examples in Get Out of where the original consciousness seeps through or is able to take back control over their body. For example, when Chris photographs Logan, the flash on the camera triggers Andre's mind to take control, and he's able to talk to Chris, warning him to get out. There's also a moment in Get Out that reveals which members of Rose's family might have been connected with the experiments in Us. When Chris wakes up after being imprisoned in the family basement, the TV switches on and plays a video where Rose's grandfather, Roman Armitage, introduces the name of the experiment that's about to be performed on Chris as the coagular procedure.
Our order has been developing it for many, many years, and it wasn't until recently it was perfected.
Roman was a runner in the 1930s who lost to Jesse Owens in the qualifying round for the Berlin Olympics. And in the video Chris watches, Roman reveals that the Red Alchemist Society had been trying to develop the brain transplant procedure for many years until his son Dean had a breakthrough. What that means is that if the secret society was struggling with this attempt to transfer their consciousness into new bodies, it's quite possible that over the years, as they tried different procedures and ideas, at one point they either deliberately or accidentally created the tethered. For example, what if Red was wrong and the tethered weren't created to control people above ground, but instead were the result of a Red Alchemist experiment that tried but failed to create clones so members of that society could carry on living when their original bodies died? There's an interesting nod to Get Out's idea of two minds sharing one body in the opening scene of Us, where you can see a VHS tape of the movie The Man with Two Brains next to the TV set. The Man with Two Brains is an 80s sci-fi comedy starring Steve Martin as a brain surgeon working with a mad scientist who's developed a technique to keep brains alive outside their body, and the pair end up transferring a living brain from a murder victim into another person's body. Of course, Get Out's idea of two minds sharing one body is flipped in Us, where we have the idea of two bodies sharing one mind. A striking visual parallel between the films is how we see tears flow down the faces of the characters who've been experimented on. What's common to each one is that they've either been physically or mentally imprisoned and are being confronted with the horrors of what the shadowy group have inflicted upon them. Chris tears up when Missy manipulates his sadness about his dead mother and absent father and hypnotizes him, sending him into the sunken place for the first time. Adelaide cries when she's confronted by Red in her home, and Red herself also cries as she tells Adelaide about the terrible physical and emotional pain she went through as a tethered individual when she was forced to copy every action that Adelaide took above ground. In Get Out, when Chris talks to the housemaid Georgina about being nervous around white people, tears run down Georgina's face as her original consciousness battles with the transplanted brain that was forcibly implanted in her. And after Chris releases Walter from the sunken place by flashing him with his camera, just before Walter turns the gun on himself, a single tear falls down his cheek, showing his internal horror and mental torment as he realizes this is his only way out of the prison that Rose's grandfather has placed him in. By the way, there could be an interesting connection between how the flashes from Chris's camera managed to free both Andre and Walter from the sunken place, and the lightning from the electrical storm that was going on the night that young Adelaide's double was able to break out of the tunnels in Us. Another shared idea in both movies is the use of rabbits to signify the horror of the situation at hand. Jordan Peele has said that although he knows the fluffy animals are adorable, he finds their scissor-like ears terrifying. In Get Out's opening scene, Flanagan and Allen's classic song Run Rabbit Run plays while Jeremy attacks and abducts Andre. In Us, Adelaide tells her daughter Zora, who's an athlete, to run during the Tethered's home invasion. And Zora also has rabbits printed on her clothes, such as this top here, and the word on her top in this scene is the Vietnamese word for rabbit. Like the Tethered, rabbits live underground, are often used for experiments, and to add to the horror, raw rabbit was the Tethered's only source of food when they lived below the surface. Another link back from Us to Get Out is the bowl of dry Fruit Loops on the table at the Tylers' vacation home. And during a scene there, Adelaide's son Jason picks up a Fruit Loop and eats it. It's an intriguing nod to Get Out's creepy scene of Rose eating a bowl of the brightly coloured sugary cereal one piece at a time and sipping on a glass of milk while she looks for a new victim. So to Get Out and Us signal the dawn of a Jordan Peele cinematic universe? Well, Peele himself has said that the two movies are part of the same project, and around the time of Get Out's release in 2017, he also told Business Insider that he had 4 other social thrillers he planned to release in the next 10 years. So that means there's another 3 left to go in this series, and it seems quite possible they'll connect to Get Out and Us in similar ways. Peele has explained that the best and scariest monsters in the world are human beings and what we're capable of, especially when we get together. He said that he's been working on these premises about these different social demons, these innately human monsters that are woven into the fabric of how we think and how we interact, and each one of his movies is going to be about a different one of these social demons.
Well, I know you're kind of funny, but I didn't know you're that funny.
That was Hannah Miller's parents' reaction. When they found out she was voted the funniest her senior year of high school. Her jokes are one of the many things they'll miss.
What?
Well, I know you're kind of funny, but I didn't know you're that funny.
They can't wrap their heads around why someone would harm their only child. This
was just a tragic ending. I mean, something that didn't have to happen.
Police found the 26-year-old's body lying on a highway near Rylander, Wisconsin last month with a gunshot wound. Oneida County Sheriff's Office named Christopher Terrell Anderson as the suspect. He shares a child with the victim. The child is safe with her grandparents, but Anderson is currently on the run.
My plea is to, we just got to find this guy, and the last place that we know he was in St. Paul. The same day that she was killed, that's where he went.
Police believe he's in the Twin Cities after finding this car he was driving in St. Paul in early July. Police arrested a 24-year-old they say acted as an accomplice. But for Hannah's family, that's not enough.
He's familiar with the St. Paul, Minneapolis area. If he's still there, he's been there for 2 weeks now. There's got to be somebody that knows something.
In Minneapolis, Mitty Hicks, Fox 9.
Is there anything more beautiful than a sunrise? Hi, I'm Roman Armitage. And if you're watching this, you're probably wondering what's going on. There's no need to worry. Let's take a walk. You have been chosen because of the physical advantages you've enjoyed your entire lifetime. With your natural gifts and our determination. We could both be part of something greater. Something perfect. The coagula procedure. It's a man-made miracle. Our order has been developing it for many, many years. And it wasn't until recently it was perfected by my own flesh and blood. My family and I are honored to offer it as a service to members of our group. Don't waste your strength. Don't try to fight it. You can't stop the inevitable. And who knows? Maybe one day you'll enjoy being members of the family.